When Susannah entered the dining room of Chang, she found that the family were the most colorful snails she'd ever seen. Their shells were dyed with every color imaginable and inlaid with sparkling jewels in intricate patterns. Their bodies, however, were like any other snails, greenish gray and damp with slime. The dampness in the air, which she had noticed earlier, was far more noticeable in the dining room. Looking at her hostess, and student-to-be, Susannah understood. She swallowed hard and hoped she'd be able to eat. 3 pairs of tentacles swung toward her, weaving sinuously. She caught the edge of an excited thought. The barbarian has the color of a lowest of the low, world-bound mud crawler of no color, mother. What can such a one teach me? A repressive feeling followed. Manners. But she is thinking that we are wet and sticky, I think. Is that polite? This is not the Earthwoman's accustomed form of communication. She will learn. As will you. But mother, a new thought voice interjected sharply. Intlak. Susannah stumbled slightly at the strength of that voice in her mind. Also, her best shoes were pinching her toes. Having the thoughts of another creature in her head was a disturbing experience. If one could not call one's thoughts one's own, then what was left? She was diverted, however, by the realization that the personalities of the speakers came through as clearly in her head as they would have done had she heard their voices, perhaps more clearly. Intlak felt to her very much like her cousin James, whom she had occasionally been forced to share a schoolroom with when she was young. Father, the alien is thinking of me as like unto a member of her family. This I cannot bear. Hush. The force of the thought was enough to make Susannah wince. Chang chuckled as he guided her to the round table, which was elaborately laid and barely raised off the floor. The 2 large snail's shells reached about as high as Susannah's chin, the smaller ones to her waist. They were sitting next to each other around the table, with 2 places left for herself and Chang. Large pillows had been provided for the humans. Susannah, teacher, said Chang with great formality, may I present Simtlak diplomat, his mate, Cheatlon consort, and their son, Intlak, eldest. The names and titles, as she heard them, echoed by Intlak, were slightly different, and she realized that Chang's pendant was unable to capture the nuances. Trying to suppress thoughts about their squishy green bodies and sinuous tentacles, Susannah curtsied to each in turn. She heard a thought with the flavor of Cheatlon. I apologize for our little outburst as you came in, Susannah, teacher. As you can feel, sense, receive, our son is in need of your guidance. My mate, love, friend, and I don't spend the time with him that we ought. Chang gestured for her to sit. She sank, rather awkwardly, onto the cushions. He sat cross-legged with practiced ease. Thank you, sir and madame, for inviting me here. Thank you for coming, came Simtlak's overpoweringly strong reply. I hope you will find the adventure you were hoping for. Chuckles? Intlak's tentacles were pointed steadily in her direction, but she caught no thoughts from him. Don't stare, dear. The tentacles swiveled away, and then irresistibly wove their way back again. Do you, slime, crawl, leave a trail? Pardon me? Chang snickered. Intlak, the teacher is of the same species as Chang and has the same habits. Well, said Chang, more or less. Susannah frowned at him. You could do with a lesson in deportment yourself, she snapped. Oh, please teach me, O refined one. There was the equivalent in her head of a throat clearing. Please pardon us, said Susannah, chastened. Then she projected the thought as clearly as she was able. Pardon us. Intlak's tentacles were pointed steadily in her direction, but still she caught no thought from him. You must speak, or Chang advisor will be unable to hear you. I am afraid you have not the strength of thought for him to receive you. Oh, yes, of course, murmured Susannah. And a good thing, too. I still do not comprehend, she said aloud, how you learned of me. She wiggled uncomfortably on the pillow, tugging her dress down over her ankles. It was not merely modesty. Surreptitiously, she undid some of the buttons on her shoes. The self-assured thoughts of Simplak told her, "We heard of you from our representative in your sector of space. We had told all of our representatives that we wanted a teacher, companion, friend for our eldest. We preferred someone of an alien species, someone who would be able to teach him some tolerance and some manners, someone who would be able to teach him manners, and as you can see, he needs. We reviewed reports from a variety of sectors and chose you. We chose Chang for obvious reasons as the best of our advisors to make contact with you. He will be your advisor until such time as you feel at home here." Cheatlong interjected gently. "May that time come soon. I'm sure it must be burdensome for some of your independent spirit to be so dependent upon a male of your species to whom you are not bonded." Susannah tried to take a breath. The understanding of Cheatlong, though an alien, and the incredible sensation of having another being in her head was beginning to overwhelm her. Trying to distract herself, she looked down at the table. Differently colored portions of what appeared to be gelatin puddings, liquids, leaves, were arranged in patterns on the low table. She tried to think of some way to thank Cheatlong for her kind thought. "There is no need," Cheatlong assured her. Susannah started. When would she remember that words were not necessary here? "The accustomization will come. The food is all safe for humans, teacher," Cheatlong added, "and it is necessary for us to eat now." She looked around the table. How was she to eat? Slurp off the table? Her mother had always said, "When in doubt as to the precise use of a dining utensil, watch your host." Susannah felt hysterical giggles rising.